Morning, Mickey.
What did you make of that game yesterday?
Oh, where do I start? Only for Ronan Flanagan. I can't believe Martin Riley missed that goal chance, you know. Him with a soccer background, I'd have expected him to keep it low on the carpet, but they blazed it over the bar. Very lucky to be able to bring on Michael Argue. Big man for the middle of the field, and him still under 21. You imagine, we got to an All-Ireland quarter-final last year, and that was without him, and without Gerard McKiernan and these lads. Imagine what we can do this year with them all. The night that we got the first-round victory, it was absolutely amazing. When you think about it, we haven't won a first-round game in years. 6 points from play. You can't ask for much of a better return than that. But then the missed six. Gilson in goals was playing brilliantly. Joshua Hayes, you couldn't replace him. Rory Dunn, outstanding. Killian the Gunner, absolutely brilliant. Fergus Flanagan was probably lucky to not get a black card. He got a yellow one instead. Jeez, I tell you what, Pete McGrath was raging after it, so he was. You know, after last year reaching the All-Ireland quarter-final, sure, everyone's Samsung Galaxy tablet from 149. That's pretty damn good. But like, how's Terry Highland going to be able to keep their heads on the ground and not let them get blown up?
Hayes Expert, Cavan and Cootehil, proud sponsors of Gaelic Football Views.
Look, at the end of the day, we got the 2 points, and isn't that all that really matters?
Yeah, but sure, look, I'll see you at the match later on.
I don't think I'll bother.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Gaelic Football Views on CavanTV.com, Ireland's first web TV sports channel, which has been viewed in over 220 countries by almost 2 million people. The show is brought to you by Hayes Expert, Cavan and Cootehil. I'm Damien Donohoe, and remember, if you want to get in contact with the show, we'd be delighted to hear from you. You can email us on GaelicFootballViews@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook by searching Gaelic Football Views, or you can follow us on Twitter at GaelicFV. On tonight's show, folks, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by the sports editor of the Anglo Celt, Mr. Paul Fitzpatrick. Paul and myself will be looking back at a busy weekend which seen Tommy Gilroy and Sean Leddy Cups find new homes for the coming year. We have post-match interview from the Cootehil game, Cootehil Ballyhaise intermediate final. We also be bringing you all the other results in a jam-packed weekend of Gaelic football. Paul, thanks very much for coming in and chatting football with us.
Thanks for having me, Damien. We talk football all day anyway, so...
We do, so this shouldn't be any different. We're going to start off, just there's a few underage results, so we're going to start off running through them. The under-14s and the minor championships are underway. The under-14 semi-finals, some of them have taken place last night at the 3G pitch in Kingspan Breffni Park. Ballyborough were taking on Coothullins. This was in the Division 3 semi-final. Ballyborough came out on top on the scoreline, 2 goals and 9 points to Coothullins, 1 goal and 8. Ronan Carlin's over that Coothullins team, and they were very unlucky. In fairness, they had a majority of possession, but didn't take the chances that came their way. But I tell you, I didn't fancy anybody playing football on that evening. It was miserable, absolute rain belting down, and the wind, as always on the 3G pitch, blowing straight into your face in one half. So it was difficult conditions for football, but good game in fairness by both teams. Put up a good display. The other semi-final that was on over the weekend was the Division 2, and that saw Lara taking on St. Joseph's, and Lara came out with a victory here, massive score of 5 goals and 15 points to St. Joseph's, 1 goal and 11, and that was on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. And then the other Division 2 semi-final saw Castlerahan taking on Annalee Gales, and that was at 12 o'clock on Saturday in St. Phelan's Park, Drumalee. And Annalee Gales, who is Red Hills and Ballyhaise, came away with the victory there. 1 goal and 14 points to Castlerahan's 1 goal and 7. So that means Annalee Gales and Lara will take on each other for the Division 2 title in the championship. So up next in the under-14 championship, well, these games are actually on tonight. There's 2 semi-finals. One is on at 6:45. That's Ramor against Butler's Bridge. That's the Division 1, and that is in the 3G pitch. And then at 8 o'clock, Crushala are taking on Knockbride, again in the 3G pitch in Kingspan Breffni Park. And then out in Mullahorn at 7 o'clock, Drumgoon were taking on Ballina in the Division 3 decider, or the semi-final Division 3. So we'll have them results for you next week. On Tuesday then, tomorrow night, the Division 4 semi-finals take place on the 3G pitch again in Kingspan Breffni Park, and that sees Cootehil taking on Killincare at 6:45 and Shercock taking on Shannon Gales at 8 p.m. So we wish all teams the best of luck there. The finals will be played on Monday and Tuesday, the 13th and 14th of October, and they'll be played under lights in Kingspan Breffni Park. The Under 13 Football Championship will commence on Saturday the 25th of October, and it's a knockout competition as always, so there's due warning for all clubs involved. We'll move on very quickly now. We're into the Minor Championship, so it's the Farnham Arms Hotel Minor B Championship quarter final. This saw Den taking on Cootehil, and it was in Crosskeys on Sunday afternoon, actually at 12 p.m. And Den came out with the victory here, 4 goals and 13 points to Cootehil's 2 goals and 11. Just on that probably would have been a bit of surprise. I know Den, you look at it, they've Ben Connaughty, they've Thomas Edward Donohoe, but Cootehil's, I think, came down from a higher division, and they've Adam Riley, they've Brian McGee, they have young David Carlin, all played in the senior championship semi-final a week previous. So it was a hell of a win, in fairness to Den.
Yeah, Den are doing quite well underage. Like you mentioned, Ben Connaughty and Thomas Edward. They've done with Kyogan's son, Cabell, as well. He was on the Cavan under 16.
That's right.
Den are doing quite well. Cootehil's are a team to watch out for as well. If the 5 minors that are fit to play in the senior championship, not too many clubs, even Cavan Gales wouldn't have minors of that quality. So, but that's a good win for them, yeah, definitely. But they have won a bit over the last few years. And another club you mentioned there, Lara, they're going very well. I see they're under 14 Division 2 final. They won under 16. They won a minor this year as well. So they're a team to watch out for. Yeah,
they Lara seem to have developed the knack of just a bit of consistency at underage, because probably going back 7-8 years ago, they started to win under 12, under 13, under 14 competitions, and they're developing those players right through, so they can bring a few players onto the senior team each year.
Oh yeah, it just goes to show any club can do it with the right effort and the right approach to it. You know, like it's scientific now, as you know, preparing teams. It's not just a matter of going out with a water bottle and a set of jerseys and say, right lads, here we go. Like any team, any club who really sits down and plans it out and puts in the effort can do it. We've seen clubs who haven't traditionally been successful at underage level doing very well. It's actually been turned on its head at underage. When you see the likes of Temple Port in a minor final last year, and Lara are doing very well, who hadn't done that well for a while. Lots of clubs in West Cavan who aren't doing that well at senior level are doing well at underage level. Yeah. So it can be done. And what I always think is amazing too is the way good young players come in twos. I think we talked about this before. Like if you look back, you mightn't have an underage county player for a few years, and then you get 2 or 3 at once. Like Shercock had it with Killian Clark and Brian Sankey.
That's right.
Casaran had it a few years ago with Mackie and Flanagan.
That's right.
Gowna had it with Paddy Brady and Mark McKeever. Hills had it with Ushie Mina and Rory Dunn. Yeah. And there's a lot more examples of that, of clubs that come along in twos, because one good player will bring up the whole level.
That's it. And somebody else then can come up to that level and push on with them, because like you say, it comes in twos all the time. But
Conroy and Duke and Lavey was another example.
That's right.
There's lots of them. There's been lots.
That's right. Or Shane Tierney.
Shane Tierney.
They could come in threes sometimes, so they can. But we'll keep on going with the minor results, because in the Minor C Championship, the final was played on Saturday evening before the intermediate final, and that's on Knockbride taking on Lavey. Knockbride came out with a convincing win here. Again, 5 goals and 15 points to 8 points for Lavey. Disappointing, I suppose, for Lavey. Haven't made great progress to get to the final, but they didn't give a good account of themselves. You know, they're a better team than that shows.
Yeah, I'd say they are. Lavey are like them. They're doing very well underage, have done very well, and right up to under 21 level, and going well again at the lower age groups. But Knockbride are going well. So I spoke to Danny Brady when he took over as minor manager, and he said Larry Riley is going to be his assistant. And he said, I saw what Larry was doing at Knockbride and the way they're playing football, and he said he obviously has a talent for coaching. And there's not just Larry, there's lots of other fellas up there as well. Like Rayfield Rogers was involved with that team.
That's right, he's over that minor team.
So it's great to see it. It's great to see it, because there's other clubs that are struggling to field teams, and then you've other clubs maybe in small rural areas who are actually winning championships. So it's brilliant.
Like Knockbride again, and a great example at the minute. Won a minor title now this year. They've won an under 16 title. I think their under 14s made it to a final You know, and their under 12s actually were quite good as well. So they've made great strides in the last few years up in Knockbride, coming from the point where their senior team at the minute seems to be struggling, but at least they're going about it the right way. They're not trying to fix the senior team by changing stuff there. Changing it on their age, and eventually it will come right. 4 or 5 years down the line, Knockbride will be winning championships again.
Yeah, guaranteed.
It's no doubt. The Farnham Arms Hotel Minor B Championship. So this is a fixture coming this Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. It's currently fixed for Killigarry, the Athletics grounds, and that's his Nave Breed against O'Rahilly Gale. So that's Drumley, Butlersbridge and Red Hills taking on Kingscourt and Shercock. So 5 clubs involved. There should be good quality in that game.
Should be a good crowd in there.
There should be a good crowd, is right, definitely should. The referee that day is Chris McCaffrey. So the winner of that qualifies for the final.
There's a lot to be said, Damien, for these established amalgamations that are actually stuck with for a few years. If you look at Arva winning the junior championship and Killeshandra winning last year, like that St Joe's amalgamation is one of the best established in the county, and it's paying dividends there. Like both those clubs are going to start next year, one in senior, one in intermediate.
Yeah.
And it's not all that long ago that both of them were in junior. So, you know, it's 6 or 7 years ago. So it just goes to show that it can work. We see it in my own club in Red Hills, where they teamed up with the Butlersbridge and stuck with Red Bridge for a good few years and produced a lot of good players.
And the funny thing is about those amalgamations that you mentioned it there, especially the prime example is St Joseph's, because they've done it so well over a number of years. But you look at that Arva team and the Killeshandra team, a huge number of them have played under 21 minor, under 16 county football, and it's because they're exposed to Division 1 football as the amalgamation, and therefore they can push on and go to that higher level. If they were playing as separate teams on their own, maybe the best footballers wouldn't be getting the best level of football.
That's exactly it. And Killincare are another example who brought through a lot of fellas who played in that St Gales amalgamation and are doing well at intermediate level now. But I was talking to a fella from Killincare, and he was telling me about one particular player that they had, and he was always a talented player but never really applied himself underage. But when they went to an amalgamation, he suddenly started putting in the effort, because he wouldn't let himself down in front of the other fellas. He was alright with his own fellas. He'd kick a ball wide and it would be a bit of a laugh. He was just a laid back type of individual. But when he started training with Cucullins and Lavy fellas and all, then suddenly he decided to up it a bit, and now he's playing like hell. And he didn't tell me his name, I didn't ask him, but he said now he's playing like hell in their senior team. So there you go.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And I think that the higher standard of football you can get, any player can only improve them. You know, it'll show that, right? Keep making those steps up, because maybe all too often there's too big of a gap from club football to go up into county. So maybe amalgamations in another form, or even in that form, can be a way to go. You know, introduce a higher level.
But the old argument was that clubs were reluctant to do it because if you've got 12 or 13 players and you might fill out a 13-a-side team, you could amalgamate, but you might only get 6 or 7 of them getting a game. But now a lot of clubs are struggling for numbers and they're forced to amalgamate. But the thing is, they must plan it, and don't just do it for a year. Like, try and plan and do it for 3 or 5 years, like they do with Arva and Killeshandra, and you will see rewards from that.
Yeah, definitely think so. We'll move on with that, because we're done now with the minor championship there. So we'll move on to a couple of results from the weekend gone by there. We have at the Cairns Service Station, Cavan All-County Football League Division 1A. This game was on Saturday evening, and it's all Castlerahan taking on Lacken. That was up in Ballyjamestuff, and Lacken came away with the victory here. 3 goals and 12 points to Lacken. Castlerahan 5 points. So that was a huge win for Lacken.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that game, but that's a big win. But that's one of these freakish end of season results that are thrown up sometimes. I'd imagine, if those teams played in championship, you certainly wouldn't have that result. No,
you definitely wouldn't. And I was speaking with Fergal Flanagan. He was on the radio with me yesterday, and he was saying that they basically had only a junior team out, Castlerahan. They didn't have any seniors really. So maybe they're looking at junior semi-finals or a reserve championship semi-final or something like that. I don't know, but it's look, they fulfilled the fixture, which is all they're obliged to do, but that could put another club into relegation trouble, as we'll see now, because the table is just going to come up on screen here for us. As you can see, or you will be able to see in a second, there we go. That's the Division 1 table, and Castlerahan are on top with 12.7 games played. Cavan Gales are in second there with 10 points, as are Kingscourt and Ballina, who all have 7 games played and 10 points. But down the bottom of the table, that result, you can see Lacken, it brought them up to 6 points, which made them leapfrog Mullahoran and go ahead of Lavey with score difference. So it puts Mullahoran back into the relegation zone there, because Gowna looked to be already relegated there, bar maybe Drumgoon, but it's second from bottom, plays third from bottom to go down to Division 1B. So, you know, the fact that Castlerahan put out a weakened team puts Mullahoran in trouble now.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't bother Castlerahan after all their travails in the committee rooms and everything else. But yeah, you're right. But then that's league football. That happens year on year, and you know, come to the end of the season and maybe the interest has dipped, and
yeah,
there's fellas maybe that have been carrying injuries and were playing through injury in the championship and don't want to risk it in a league match and different things like that. All those factors come into play. So especially, and then as you say, you might have a junior team or an under 21 team that you want to give fellas game time as well. So it's just unfortunate. I don't think there's any malicious.
No, I'm not even suggesting that at all. But it's just it can be unfortunate is the way. But that brings us on now to the Meadowview Inn All County Football League Division 1B, and this is a round 3 game which was postponed from earlier on. It took place on Friday night up in Cootehil, and it saw Cootehil taking on Killishandra, and it finished in a draw. Cootehil 1 goal and 10 points, and Killishandra 3 goals and 4 points. So that was 11 scores to 7, which was it was a big. Well, probably both teams needed to win this, as we'll see from the table here coming up on screen. Killishandra chasing promotion in Division 1 or Division 1B to go to Division 1A. They had 11 points going into that game, so had they won that game, they'd have gone top of the table with an extra game played. But Cootehil needed the win to push themselves out of the relegation area. They have a game extra played on both Ballybor and Drumalee, and 2 games extra played on Den, and they've 5 points. So if Drumalee and Den both can't win their last because they play each other, so it leaves it. Actually, that draw probably is a good result for Cootehil, but they still need some sort of a result from their last game in that championship. So it wouldn't have been a game where teams were going out not worried about it. Both teams wanted to win that game.
Yeah, both teams wanted to win that game, surely. So I suppose it again leaves it tight. The only thing is that Ballybor look like they're gone. They've only got 1 point there, looking at the table. So there's going to be a bit of a dogfight for that last relegation spot. Yeah,
there is. I know our fixtures are, we have to play Cootehil and we have to play Den. So it's not an easy run in, because Den need the points, and Cootehil, if you can remember back on the table there, Cootehil, if they won all their games, would probably get promoted. They'd go ahead of Killishandra if they won all their games. So Cootehil will be chasing that, and the fact that they're after winning the intermediate, they're going to be training like hell.
They're going to be training like hell. You often see that a team who wins one thing wins something else. They might win a junior, or they might win a league. I don't know how many times it's happened that a team has won a junior championship or an intermediate championship has won the league. It's probably because to get that bit of confidence and momentum, and plus they're training for longer.
That's it. And the training has meaning. Most clubs who are out of the championship at this stage, training has no meaning. There's no real bite to any training, and that's just part of it. I was talking with Frank Brady, who was over the Monaghan Miners for the last couple of years, and he was just saying that's the one thing he'd not go back to club football, for the simple reason that when the championship finishes, you still have to try and struggle for 3-4 months to pull players out, to bring them out for training sessions for games that they don't want to be there till championship should be the end of the season, and cut it off then, and let them lick their wounds for the winter and come back hungrier again. And I think it's a valid enough point too.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
If you could get rid of the league, have it over and done with before championship starts, it'd be a great scenario. But I don't know, the fixtures, the calendar doesn't probably allow for it. But anyway, another day's debate. The Brady's Arva Volkswagen Cavan All County Football League Division 2, again around 3 games, saw Killincare taking on Lara, and Lara came out with the victory here. This was up in Killincare, but it finished 3 goals and 12 points to Lara, and 3 goals and 10 points to Killincare. So well done to Lara, and we can see on the table how that affected things again. You can see up at the top, Belturbet have already secured promotion there, I think, with 14 points. They've 7 games played, maybe not completely secure as yet, but Arva, who are the junior champions now, of course, have 12 points with 7 games played, and then Drumlane have 10 points with 7 games played. But down the bottom end, you can see Mount Nugent 1 point out of their 8 games, so I think they're already relegated. And Muncher Connacht have 3 points with 7 played. Drung have 5 points with 8 played, so Drung by no means out of trouble. Killincare needed the victory there as well to probably guarantee safety. Actually, a victory would have guaranteed them safety there, but they didn't pick up the victory, so unfortunately they can still be dragged into a relegation battle.
That table sort of confirms something I've thought for a while about Arva. I think Arva have the quality to be straight away be a top intermediate side. I think they'll go into the intermediate next year, and without doubt they'll hold their status, and if not they'll push on and they'll tighten that intermediate. I felt that even last year that Arva were a very good team and were a very strong junior team. Like they've only lost 1 match in junior football in 2 years, and that was by 1 point to a wonder kid.
Sorry, no, 2 games.
Sorry, they lost to Ballymacu this year, but they
rectified
that. Yeah. They rectified that yesterday. So I'd imagine Arva, we've seen it a lot over the last 20 years. 4 or 5 times it's happened. Like come right back to Biltorbit in 95 and 96. Sure. They came straight up. Drumgroon came straight up. Red Hills came up with it.
Knockbride
did well. Red Hills come up with a 3-year gap. I think they won a junior in 05 and won an intermediate in 2008. Killishandra won it with a 5 or 6 year gap. Right. Lavy won it with a couple of years of a gap.
Shercock didn't win it, but
they got to a final.
Yeah.
So a lot of teams have done it traditionally.
And with the age profile,
you need your age profile to be low, to be young, and have the bit of momentum coming up, and probably need a couple of county players as well to drag the thing up and to keep the interest there, and basically to raise the standards. And Arva have all that, so yeah. I honestly think that they'll go on. I'd back them to win an intermediate in the next couple of years.
That's it. If you get a bookmaker to give you odds at that, you'll be doing well. It's a long time investment. That brings us on now to the Riverfront Hotel All-County Football League Division 3, and this game was on Saturday. Sorry, it wasn't actually on because Kildallan got a walkover against Shannon Gales, but Cornafane did take on Shercock, and this was in Cornafane. Shercock come out with the victory here, 11 points to 7 in favour of Shercock, so that puts a bit of a change on the table, but you can see coming up, Shercock now with that result are definitely promoted. They have 16 points from 8 games played, and they have 4 points clear of their nearest rivals, who are Butler's Bridge. So they have 1 game left. Butler's Bridge only have 2 games left. Is that right? Yeah, Butler's Bridge have 2 games left. So that means Shercock are promoted to Division 2, which isn't a surprise in fairness. They really should have got promoted last year. They were, for a team to was in an intermediate final and be operating at the
Division 4.
Division 4.
It was crazy. If they had won that intermediate final, they'd have been playing Division 4 league and senior football, and they only lost by a point. It's caught on the line.
He's right.
So I don't know if that has ever happened before. I do remember Swan and Bar playing senior league football and junior championship about 10 or 15 years ago.
That's right.
They were in Division 1 football, but it's generally it correlates fairly well.
And I think they actually won or got to a semi-final of that Division 1 league that year, because Declan Maguire of the Twins, the golfers, he was over them at that stage, and they got to a Division 1 semi-final while playing junior football. So absolutely phenomenal achievement.
They did win a junior final, I think, by something like 21 points to 7.
That's right.
Around that time. Right. So they were an outstanding team.
Absolutely brilliant. That brings us on now to the Sheridan Insurance Breffni All-Stars, and we just have the Player of the Week was nominated or was presented with his trophy there for week 7, and you can see there's Declan Meehan about to come up on your screen there. Declan, obviously from Cavan Gales, that was for his performance against Lacken in the second game, the drawn game. So well done to Declan. He's been presented and gets a voucher for Sheridan Insurance. It brings us on now to the actual team of the week, and this is for week number 8. And so that's the weekend of the 27th of September to the 28th, so the Saturday and the Sunday. And it starts off in goals on the team of the week is Rory Donlan, and he's from Ballyhaise, and that's for his performance against Shercock in the semi-final. Were you in at that game, Paul? I can't remember.
I wasn't at that one.
No,
I wasn't at that one. But
I heard he had a great game. He had a very good game, in fairness. Yeah,
he's a very good shot stopper.
He is indeed. he'll be disappointed obviously with the weekend's result, but he had a good championship.
Yeah.
A very good championship. The full back line was Niall Murray from Cavan Gales, full back was John Carney from Cootehil, and the other corner back is Darren Smith from Killincare. So Niall Murray has had some championships so far.
Oh yeah, Niall Murray's absolutely flying. I think he's playing better since his brother came into the team. They link up well as well. He's a mini version of Niall.
Stephen.
Very similar type of player.
Speed,
loves to carry the ball. Not as prolific probably scoring wise, but a nice player too. A good player. Like he's gonna make a very good player. But as you say, Niall has been excellent. Really excellent.
And again, the young profile of a Cootehil team, like John Carney, he's only 19 years of age, I think. You know, he had some game in the match against Ballinya, or against it wasn't Ballinya. The semi-final was against Killincare. Scored 3 points.
3 points. Yeah, good player.
From a cornerback position.
His father writes with us for the Celt, and he says he's the best kick passer of a ball in the county.
He's the best kick passer of a ball in the county. I tell you, he has competition with his own team. Because Enda Hessen now is as good a kick passer
and
his
own parish, Conor Moynihan's not far off it.
Is right. So yeah, there's lots of competition there. That's a bold statement by Queeveen, by Kevin Senior. The half-back line sees Killy McBride from Ballinya, Joshua Hayes from Cootehil, and Levi Murphy from Cavan Gales. Some fine footballers in that team.
It's a good team. I'd like to see that team play the county team.
You definitely would. Joshua Hayes, in fairness, had a very good game in the semi-final, and again at the weekend, which we'll discuss later in the show, he had an excellent game in the county final, I thought. The midfield was Porrick O'Reilly from Ballinya for his performance against Mullahoran, and Peter Paul Galligan from Mullahoran for his performance against Ballinya. You couldn't argue with that, because I thought Porrick was immense in the after 15 minutes he came into the game and controlled the middle of the field really. Yeah,
well, he has the potential to do that, you know. I know he's not on the county team at present, but he's a county standard footballer. Like, I don't think anyone would dispute that, and has been for a long time.
Definitely, in fairness, and I think it was due to work commitments that he didn't go back in this year, so you never know, you might see him after the year's break, he might want to get back in.
Yeah, I'd like to see him back in there, because in fairness he was a good servant to Cavan.
Yeah.
And he played a lot of good games for Cavan down through the years at various age groups. Even right back when he was playing colleges football for St Pat's, like he was a colossus.
Yeah.
And won a championship final nearly on his own, with a little bit of help against Cavan Gales last year. Like, he turned in one of the greatest county final performances that I've ever seen anyway. So
yeah. Well, definitely
has something to contribute.
Dominance at the middle of the field, he can control, and for a man, he's not a monster. You know, he's not huge in size. You know, I'd say he might be 6'1". You know, so you wouldn't expect him to be able to dominate the way he does, but he can dominate.
He can. He's a very clean player as well. You know, he's a very clean, honest type of player. Like, if you were showing him as an example to young fellas, he's exactly what you want to see in a player, because he's wholehearted, but he's clean as well, and there's no dirty stuff with him. Yeah,
except last year in the championship against us. and
exactly. Yeah.
That was the one exception. Although, in fairness to him, it wasn't really dirt. I think it was just mistimed in most of those cases. But he definitely is a wonderful footballer. Porrick, I'm only slagging.
But Niall McDermott got a mistimed slap in the jaw from Wakely at the weekend as well.
A mistimed one is right.
That was another one. But referees miss these things sometimes.
They do indeed, unfortunately. The half-forward line then, moving on, sees Kevin Tierney from Ballyhaise. That was for his performance against Shercock. We have Enda Hessen, obviously from Cootehil, and that was his performance against Killincare. And the half-forward line is completed with Emmett Fitzsimons from Killincare, and for his performance against Cootehil. So again, that'll be a half-forward line that'll be good enough for county.
Yeah, there's three county men there.
Yeah. And no bother to them. Plenty of scores coming off those lads as well.
Yeah, well, Enda Hessen's my new favourite player, so I think he should be on the Cavan senior team.
Is Gerard Smith's gone?
Gerard Smith's gone. No, he's my second favourite.
Still love him, but just not as much.
Yeah. Hessen's something else.
Phenomenal, but we'll move on to that in the second half of the show. We'll talk about Cootehil. The full forward line is made up by Shonny Johnston from Cavan Gales, and that's his performance against Coothullins in the semi-final. Martin Connerty from Ballyhaise, and that was his performance against Shercock in the semi-final. And Tomas Moore from Ballinya, and that was his performance against Mullahoran in the quarter-final. Again, a good full forward line there.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Sean Johnson's back to form, and Connerty's a good young player as well.
Definitely.
He came to prominence in the league final against Red Hills last year when he came on and scored a goal in the last minute, or maybe, I think it was a goal, to draw it, and the final was never actually played, but he's good, and Thomas Moore has showed his worth, like he's a championship
Yeah,
medal.
well, 1-3 in that game now, and he was playing out around as a third midfielder, so that was a huge plus to Balagna to be able to have him there. So probably a fit Thomas Moore for a full championship would make a huge difference to Balagna.
Oh, definitely.
That brings us on now. So the player of the week for that week, week 8, was Shawnee Johnston, and we can see we've a picture just about to come up of Shawnee Johnston being presented with his trophy. He was phenomenal, I suppose, in that semi-final against Cootehil. There we have Shawnee Johnston there in front of the picture of the new proposed development in Croke Park, Terry Coyle Park. He's been presented there with his trophy, and John Dwyer is on his left-hand side. Aidan Dwyer. And I don't know who's on the right-hand side. My apologies to whoever that is, but that's Shawnee Johnston. We have then the manager of the week for the 27th and 28th of September goes to Darren McCarthy. I think he's deserved of that because against Mullahoran he got his matchups right, and in a tough game he was just that bit cuter. The team was a little bit better prepared, I think.
Yeah, he had them, and he's got a hell of a haircut at the minute as well. I thought it was the world's smallest hat he was wearing. But no, he did a good job against Mullahoran. I fancied Mullahoran for that game. Yeah. We talked about it on the Celt podcast as well, Damien. I backed Mullahoran for that game. I thought that they would win it, but Balagna were brilliant that evening. Balagna were fully deserving it, and I didn't know Balagna had that in them, because my reading of Balagna last year was that they really picked for one big game and they had toiled through other games. And I suppose you could say they did the same this year because they're out of championship now, but that was a hell of a performance. To go 2 goals down, and for Niall McDermott not to score from play and still to run up to 3-12 or 3-13 and to beat Mullahoran, excellent. That
performance, just to talk briefly about it, has it cemented Balagna's place in the top 4 in the county now going forward? People can say that, or can say without any worries, that Balagna are there for a few years to be senior championship contenders.
I think so, yeah, I do think so. Maybe personally I felt bad when they beat Mullahoran, because I thought, geez, anyone in Balagna now that's going to read something I wrote in the Celt will say, well, that Egan doesn't give us any credit for winning the championship. And Balagna man sort of said something similar to me at Breffni Park on Sunday, but no, they definitely did. They definitely proved a lot of people wrong. Like, fair enough, they lost by a point to Kingscourt. Kingscourt could win the championship, if we don't know.
Yeah.
So there's no shame in that, losing by a point to the semi-final. And
on top of that, they could have won that game against Kingscourt. There was nothing between the two sides. Probably, a kick of a ball, a free that was missed, something simple like that ended up losing the game. But Balagna were definitely good enough to make another senior final.
Oh, without doubt. Probably they do need someone to emerge that'll take a bit of the scoring pressure off Niall McDermott. Ronan Riley looks like a good little player.
Yeah.
But it'll be a year or two probably for him, because he's quite slight. But definitely they're definitely in the mix. The top 4. It's very hard to know what the top 4 is. Like, we'll know next Sunday who the top team are, but going by the odds for Sunday, the Gaels are ranked as the best team in the county. Kingscourt obviously are going to be number 2 now, or number 1 if they win.
Yeah.
And then you've obviously got Ramor, Castlerahan in the chasing pack. Like, definitely Balagna have leapfrogged Mullahoran with that performance. Mullahoran are up there, but they were disappointed in hindsight in this championship. They threatened a lot, but they were disappointed. They lost to Lavey, they lost to Balagna. They scraped past Castlerahan, but Castlerahan also lost to Ramor and Kingscourt, so Castlerahan probably weren't what we thought.
Like, and maybe the league table isn't lying to us either.
Yeah.
When you look at where Mullahoran are, that it's a possibility that they need something to revitalise them, because they seem to be on a little bit of a downward curve at the minute.
They are on a downward curve. They really are. Like, changing managers a lot as well, and they've gone through a lot of managers in the last 3 or 4 years, various times. Yeah. A lot of managers, right back to Declan Maguire was there for a while. Your man Darren Chapman from Anna was there for a while. They've had
Beelan
was there a few years ago. Yeah, the Pascal Canavan. But that's come back a good while. But Niall Lynch was there for a year and won a championship.
And for some reason they didn't keep him.
Yeah, he didn't stay on, and Cootehil then came in this year half through the year as well, so they need a bit of stability out there.
Yeah, they definitely do. I think that's the most important thing for Ballina, because they have a few good underage footballers coming through, and they need them to be introduced into a setup that can give them the opportunity to progress as footballers. So, but look, nobody will ever write off Mullahorn when it comes to championship.
That's for sure.
The referee of the week again for the Sheridan Insurance Breffni All-Stars, the referee of the week for the 27th and 28th of September goes to Joe McQuillan for his performance in the Cavan Gaels Cootehil semi-final. What did you think of his performance that evening?
Let me think back to him. See, go to so many games I can't remember exactly. I thought he was pretty solid that evening.
Yeah, there wasn't much
have a good game
for him. You know, it didn't seem like a difficult game to ref.
It's a thankless job, refereeing. Like, we're looking back now a week later, like, and they say referees had a good game when you don't notice them.
Yeah.
But we're a week later now, we should be saying, well, he had a great game because we didn't notice him. We can't remember anything.
That's exactly it.
That's it.
And because
if he had made one really bad glaring decision, we'd remember it.
Exactly.
And he could have made 50 correct ones.
I think so. That's the hallmark of a good performance, that we don't actually, because I was the same today when I seen the email come in with the referee of the week. I was going, was he refereeing that game? I couldn't remember. So to me, that's a good referee.
That's a good sign, yeah.
That's a good referee.
Well, he's proven himself. He's reffed at the highest level, so
yeah,
he is a top ref.
He has indeed. Just to let everybody know again, you can vote for your Sheridan Insurance Breffni All-Stars team by texting the word player followed by his allocated number to 53030, and all numbers can be found on the website www.muncherconnor.com/allstars.asp, or go to Breffni All-Stars Facebook page. Again, the text costs 30 cents per text, and it's to 53030. So you text the word player followed by your nominations allocated number. So that brings us to the end of part one of the show, but join us in part two, where we'll be concentrating on the Hotel Kilmore Championships. Lovely job.
Morning, Mickey.
What did you make of that game yesterday?
Oh, where do I start? Only for Ronan Flanagan. I can't believe Martin Riley missed that goal chance, you know. Him with a soccer background, I'd have expected him to keep it low on the carpet, but they blazed it over the bar. Very lucky to be able to bring on Michael Argue. Big man for the middle of the field, and him still under 21. You imagine, we got to an All-Ireland quarter-final last year, and that was without him, and without Grode McCarron and these lads. Imagine what we can do this year with them all. The night that we got the first-round victory, it was absolutely amazing. When you think about it, we haven't won a first-round game in years. 6 points from play. You can't ask for much of a better return than that. But then the missed six. Gilson in goals was playing brilliantly. Joshua Hayes, you couldn't replace him. Rory Dunn, outstanding. Killian the Gunner, absolutely brilliant. Fergal Flanagan was probably lucky to not get a black card. He got a yellow one instead. Jeez, I tell you what, Pete McGrath was raging after it, so he was. You know, after last year reaching the All-Ireland quarter-final, sure, everyone's Samsung Galaxy tablet from 149. That's pretty damn good. But like, how's Terry Hyland going to be able to keep their heads on the ground and not let them get blown up?
Hayes Expert, Cavan and Cootehil, proud sponsors of Gaelic Football Views.
Look, at the end of the day, we got the 2 points, and isn't that all that really matters?
Yeah, but sure, look, I'll see you at the match later on.
Nah, I don't think I'll bother.
So this is Terry Highland, and this is Highland Hardware. We're just outside Cavan in Ballyhaise. Open early to late, 6 days a week. And as you can guess from the name, we do lots and 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 lots of hardware. All at guaranteed low prices. So if you're looking for any type of hardware, 6 days a week, early or late, at guaranteed low prices, come to Highland Hardware in Ballyhaise. It's that simple. And remember, cones are for ice cream, and Highland Hardware is for value.
Yeah, welcome back to part two of Gaelic Football Views. So now we're going to take a look back over the weekend's championship action, starting with the Senior Championship semi-final. This took place on Sunday afternoon in Kingspan Breffni Park at 2 p.m. and Kingskirk were taking on Ballina, and as we said earlier on, Kingskirk came away with a victory, a 1 point win here, 11 points to 10. Packy Smith was referee in that game. Good game, bad game, what did you think, Paul?
The ref or the match?
We'll start off with the match.
I thought it was poor. I thought it was a poor match. A lot of mistakes. Neither side really played well. Obviously, you have to hand it to Kingskirk to ground it out, and it was tough with the wind as well. There was a swirling wind. It was a very strong. It was a gale force wind, but it was going from towards the town goals, but it was also swirling as well, so it made kicking very difficult. I thought it was poor enough stuff. I didn't think it was much. Now, semi-finals are for winning, as I say. But then again, I was actually thinking about that, and I was thinking, well, finals are for winning as well, and quarter-finals are for winning.
Every game in championships for winning, so it isn't I suppose the difference between the two sides was Anthony Corcoran.
Yeah, he's playing great stuff. He's having an Indian summer really, because he's 34. Corcoran.
Is he?
He is, yeah. He is.
Wow.
And this is his first year really playing senior football. And
wow.
I know he captained their junior B team a couple of years ago, and I was looking through mugshots from the 2010 final earlier on. I saw him there. He was a sub in 2010. Like, he was around the 30 mark that time. But they brought him in this year, and he's doing the job. Like, he's their highest scorer, and kicked 3 points in play, three tricky frees, which he won a few himself. Like, he's deadly accurate.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a powerhouse, and he's not extremely fast or anything, but he's just deadly accurate.
But
Get
he
the ball
also,
in his hands and he'll score.
His movement, I thought, was exceptionally good, because when Kingskirk needed somebody to make constant, tireless runs inside the scoring zone, he was there. He was over and back, and I watched him just off the ball a few times when Kingskirk had the ball out in the middle third of the field, and I was just looking inside to see was there an option, and it was always him that was making that run. Like, he seems to be just willing to make constant dummy runs, and I'd say for a cornerback to mark him, it's a nightmare at the minute, because he you don't know when is his actual run to go for the ball. He seems to be making these runs all the time, and then when there's a kick, he accelerates that little bit just to get away, but he's made 13-14 runs before that to completely confuse the cornerback, and I felt sorry for Killian McBride, because he couldn't get close to him at all. Yeah, no,
he's doing very well. He's doing very well. Now, it'll be interesting to see, does he get closed down against the Gaels, or how he does, because at the start of the year it didn't look like he was definitely going to be making the Kingskirk team, and he's improved as the year has gone on. He's got a bit of confidence, but so much depends on himself, Barry Riley and Philly Tinley. They were the only three that scored the last day, and they are the main three threats going forward. Like, Tinley has got a great boot, he can kick points from long range. We know all about Barry, and Corcoran is a bonus to his form. If you took him out of it, they'd be really struggling for scores there.
Yeah, and I suppose that's what Cavan Gaels will be targeting to stop them. But Cavan Gaels will crowd out the defence. There won't be a lot of space for them to operate in that area there. So, probably Philip Tinley's going to be key for Kingskirk going forward, because he has that level of pace that is hard to handle.
Oh, he has, and plus he has the point scoring ability. He reminds me a bit of Mackey. He's not as jinky as Mackey, but he's very direct. Now, if he comes in for the same treatment Mackey came in for in the championship semi-final last year, he may wear a helmet out, because Mackey was stopped last year.
That's right.
So the Gaels are going to be looking to stop Tinley. The interesting thing is going to be where they play Chesty as well, because I think it's like the Ogie Moran factor. He won 8 All-Ireland medals, and the one year they took him out of centre forward for Kerry, they didn't win the All-Ireland. Now, I think in 2010 Chesty wore number 5 against Kingskirk, and last year they took him out of centre to mark David Finnegan on the wing. And that left a hole in the Gaels' defence. So Chesty's not manning the number 6 the way he was. He's dropping back very deep. Like, when you see Chesty coming out with the knees up, breaking through tackles in trademark fashion, that's when you know the Gaels are pouring. But if you don't see that on Sunday, that could be a loss. There's 100 different little angles that you can look at. But in the final analysis, like, it looks like the Gaels are worthy favourites, and more things need to go right for Kingskirk to win it.
Yeah.
That's my analysis of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head there with Chesty. When you see him coming with the knees up, standing tall, driving through a tackle, you know that the Gaels are pouring. I've seen a lot of that, I have to say, in the semi-final. I thought against Cootehil he started to, which I didn't see much earlier on in the championship, and I didn't see it last year, but it definitely seems to be coming back. And he's almost playing the sweeper role. He's holding the middle, holding the centre a lot more. He doesn't seem to have to follow a man. He seems to be.
Oh, he is surely, yeah.
He's given that freedom.
He's given Fortune a lot of cover. John Fortune is actually playing very well.
He is.
He's playing very well, but Chesty's given him a lot of cover. I'd say the Gaels are going to look to target Chesty and try and move him out. I spoke to Niall Lynch just there in the last hour for the paper, and he was bullish. Like I said, look at, would you agree with me when I make the point that teams that are playing the Gaels need to keep it tight early on, get into a game and impose themselves on a game? And he said no. He said, I disagree with that. He says we're going down to win the game. He says a lot of teams are beaten before they play Cavan Gaels. He says we're going down with a plan to try and win the match. So their plan is going to be fight fire with fire, and they're a town side too with a bit of swagger. Like,
yeah,
I think it's going to make us a great final, because 2010 was a great final.
It was
a very dramatic final, and there was refereeing controversies and everything else.
Hello to Jimmy Gallagher.
I never know names, but yeah, that was a great final, and the two great teams. I just can't wait till Sunday. I can't wait till the ball's thrown up. I think it's going to be a cracker.
And I think Niall Lynch hit the nail on the head with that comment, because Kieran Riley last year, his whole post-match and even pre-match was, we're going out to attack it. We're going out to win this game, and we'll do our matchups on the Gaels, but we'll just basically go out and we'll play our game of football. And that's what they did. It was Cavan Gaels who changed everything around to suit Ballinya in the final last year.
And also in 2011, I was looking back on that report today, and Castlerahan went out with an idea to slow everything down. Like they had no football at their goals, I remember. So the ball would go in, the Gaels got a point early on, the ball would go in, it would take them a minute or two to kick it out. I think in the first 8 minutes, the ball was only going to play a couple of minutes that day. And eventually the Gaels got a goal and the floodgates opened.
Yeah.
But Castlerahan went out to contain. Fair enough, it didn't work for them, they tried it. And obviously Ballinya learnt that lesson. But you can't do that. You just have to fight fire with fire, I think, and just try and win it.
Yeah, I think you're right. So that brings us just to the burning point. Who's going to win it?
Well, I think, as I said, that more things have to go right for Kingscourt. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Kingscourt won it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Gaels won it, because the Gaels are an unknown quantity. Like, if you look at the Gaels are coming into this final having beaten, the teams they've beaten is Gowna, Lacken after replaying Cucullins. Fair enough to beat Cucullins twice. Yet they're 2-5 favourites, whereas Kingscourt are coming into the game having beaten Castlerahan, Rammer, and the champions Ballinya.
Yeah.
And they're the 5-2 favourites. So then you say, well, why are the Gaels 2-5 favourites? Because they're in the 14th final in 15 years. But if you look back, the last time they won the final, there's 12 of that 20 that won't start this Sunday. I looked at it earlier on. You're going right through Cootehil Collins, Martin Dunn, presumably he's not going to start if he's injured. Crotty came on that day, Niall Smith, Kevin Meehan. None of these boys have played any football this year in the championship we're talking about. Sean Riley. I should have the list to hand.
Sure. Cormac Nelligan
came on that day as well.
Yeah.
Owen Elliott
in goals.
That day in goals.
Shane Midlade, I think, was around. No, he was gone at that stage.
Yeah, he wasn't playing. But there's 12 of the 20 who are unlikely to start, who more or less won't start on Sunday. Crotty as well, he came on. So
how much experience have these boys got?
So why are the Gaels that price? It's because of their experience. But their experience is, there will be more senior championship medalists starting for Kingscourt than there will be for Cavan Gaels.
Yeah.
That's if Mossy Malone starts, he'll be the extra one. He will tip it over that there will be more starting for Kingscourt than starting for Cavan Gaels. There's a lot of fellas on the Gaels team that don't have a championship medal. Like John Fortune doesn't have one. Stephen Murray doesn't have one.
Barry Fortune
doesn't have one. The fellas that are coming on, Daniel Graham has.
Paul Graham
came on
wouldn't
that year. Paul doesn't have one. Andy Graham doesn't have one. There's a lot of lads there, like. So the big question mark is, how good are the Gaels? It's very hard to analyse the match without asking how good are the Gaels. And their form today suggests they're not that good. Now, this could look really foolish looking back on this video next week. If there's any way we can delete this video if the Gaels win.
Don't worry, we'll do it for you.
The Gaels beat Lacken comprehensively in a replay. They scored 5-9. But the Gaels a few years ago would have scored 5-20 that day. They would have scored 9 points over an hour when they were on top for a full hour. Fair enough to get through for the goals. But in the past, they would have really done a job on Lacken there, like a serious hammering. But they didn't do that. So they're not the team to wear. Are they as good as they were when they won the final by 16 points in 2011? No. But are they as bad as they were last year when they lost the final by a point? No. So they're somewhere in between, but the question is, where are they in between? And are Kingscourt as good as they were in 2010? They're not. Going forward, they're not, because they've lost Ryan McCormick, they've lost Joe McMahon, they've lost Mark McKeown, who came on. Joe wasn't starting that year. But I mean, he's gone from their team from the last couple of years. They also lost Joe McMahon, Darren McMahon, cornerback, Mark McKeown, and their forwards. Philly Smith has more miles on the clock now. Tommy Wakely, still a good fullback, but he hasn't lost his speed, but you know, he's still pushing on. So I don't think Kingscourt are as good as they were back then either.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be, and I suppose the senior championship has proven this year, as it did last year and the year before, that it's not one-sided anymore, and there's a lot of teams that can go out and win a senior championship in Cavan. And you know, I like to think, because I'm a positive person, or always the optimist, is that, you know, the standard is rising across every club. Maybe other people will say that the Gael standard stepped back, but either way, it's making for a better championship.
The Gaels have come back to the field. Like, I don't think the field has caught up with the Gaels. The Gaels have come back and it's evened out. Like, it's been a very competitive championship, but it's not been a vintage championship. When you look at, for example, Anthony Corcoran, who's playing really well at senior football, but wasn't on the team 4 years ago when he was 30. Now he's 34 and he's a main forward. I don't think he's a better player now than when he was 30. If he was, he's a medical miracle.
He could be.
He possibly could be, but I'm not deriding him because he's doing brilliantly.
Yeah.
But that's just one example.
Yeah, so well, you're possibly right.
It's interesting. It's very hard to call it. If I have to put my neck on the line, the percentage call is Cavan Gaels, because there could be a big performance in them.
Yeah.
Then again, they could continue with their current level of performance. Then again, that might be enough. So it's a very, very hard championship to call for that reason, because they're an unknown quantity.
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is next Monday night we'll have you back in the show to tell us exactly why you got it right or why you got it wrong.
Yeah. Well, if I get it right, I'll come back to the show. But I'm going to tip the Gaels, but I think it could be tight, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kingscourt won it by a few points. And at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if the Gaels won it by a good few points. Which
all makes for a good championship final. As we say, it's Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. in Kingspan Breffni Park there. The referee has to be confirmed, but it should make for a good championship final. Reminder just very quickly to our viewers there that our Up for the Match is on this coming Thursday evening in the Hotel Kilmore at 8 p.m. That's on the Dublin Road. Admission is free and all is welcome. We'll be joined by players and management, hopefully, and a number of committee members, plus ex-players from both Kingscourt and Cavan Gaels, as well as Terry Hyland from the Cavan senior management, and maybe a player or two from the county senior setup. We'll move on now to the junior final. We're kind of running out of time here, but the junior final took place on Sunday afternoon in Kingspan Breffni Park at 4 p.m. It saw Arva taking on Ballymacue. Arva came out with the victory here, 2 goals and 11 points to 8 points. Paul, convincing win for Arva. Yeah, convincing win for Arva. They were never in doubt that they were 10 points up at half time. They played with the wind, and I think they targeted midfield. They targeted where Ballymacue were perceived to be strong, like with Liam Buchanan there around the middle, a big physical, rugged team like Ballymacue, whereas Arva have been slightly weak around the middle the last couple of years, but they did very well. They did very well on Sunday. I thought Fergal McLeod had a great game, very honest player, and got stuck in and took the fight to them. And the usual suspects then also played well. Like Kieran Brady had a great game, Thomas Brady had a great game, Brian Ellis showed up very well, Kevin Bush I thought had an excellent game, very probing, very clever performance, and worked hard as well. So they just, as we said earlier on, I think Arva are an outstanding team for junior level. I think they'll get to senior football sooner rather than later. So I'd like to see them getting a good run in Ulster. Ballymacue didn't go well for them on the day, but I mean, Arva were beaten last year. You can come back from it, and they have quite a young age profile. There's no reason why they can't come back from it, but it just didn't go well for them on the day. Yeah, they're not as bad as they showed up now, in fairness, and they came out after half time and looked like they were making a good fight of the game, brought 3 or 4 scores in a row, and then Arva got a goal pretty much against the run of play, in fairness to them, that just killed it off as a contest. But Ballymacue will come back. Like they're probably very strong for junior, you know, but it's important that they get out of that. They can't get stuck for 4 or 5 years in junior. Yeah, junior is hard to get out of. But just to go back to the goal that Arva got, it did come against the run of play, and Ballymacue were playing well at that stage. And another point or two, and they would have really raised their confidence, and doubt would have set in with Arva. But I talked to Barney Cully this morning, and he said that the Arva boys are saying that move was planned for that goal. That Boucher had told Alan Barry that I'm going to try and float a few of these into you, make the run. He
He says you might make it a few times, but he says if it comes off once. And so he had planned to loft that ball in, and Barry timed his run and got his hand to it. So good goal.
Absolutely brilliant, and fair play to Kevin Boucher, who has the ability to think of those things in mid-game and be able to execute them as well, because it was excellent. James Morris got man of the match. Who would you agree with it, and who would be a close second?
Yeah, I did agree with. I'd give Boucher a close second. I thought he was really good. Led the line and picked out some nice passes. Worked very, very hard, and turned over some good ball. Morris had a great game, especially when Kieran Brady went off on a black card. Morris held the line well in the last few minutes, and very good in the air, very physical and robust. Kept his discipline. He's a great fullback. Actually, a lot of people in the stand at Breffni Park were saying Morris is a very, very good fullback. He's very impressive. So good old style fullback performance. Yeah,
definitely. A bit like his manager in '97. He is that sort of a presence about him. There's a cut to him in every way when he goes for a ball. But I thought Jonathan McCabe was excellent as well.
Jonathan McCabe as well. Yeah, he was. He was definitely a close contender as well. He's after having a great championship.
I was just going to bring on the next question very quickly. All the junior championship games that you have seen, who would be your pick of the junior championship players?
Well, Kieran Brady, I think, from the games I saw, I even thought he was playing well on Sunday before he got his black card. Thomas Brady, James Morris. On the Ballymacue side, Liam Buchanan had a couple of great games. Also, Anthony Baxter, we talked about him, very, very good. Then Mark Kieran had been very good up until the final, but the final sort of passed him by. He's a good little forward, very good little forward. His potential to play at a higher level, but the final passed him by a little bit, which is a pity for him. Of the other teams, Niall Walsh actually from Shannon Gales, he's one that springs out. I think he scored 2-6 against Knockbride, and he got a hat-trick against Kildallan. He's a class act, class forward.
And still young.
Very young, yeah. He's still under 21 next year. And Eamon Riley from Shannon Gales, he's an old perennial. He's always good. Probably the best left foot in the county.
Probably like Carlsberg. But look, congratulations to Arva. Well done on lifting the Sean Leddy Cup, and commiserations to Ballymacue. But no doubt they'll be back next year to try and right the wrong of this year's championship. We'll move on now to, just to let everybody know then, Arva will take on the Donegal Junior Champions on the 2nd of November, and that'll be in Kingspan, Breffni Park. So mark that date down in the diary. We want Cavan people out to support the Cavan teams going into Ulster. We'll move on to the intermediate championship final, and this took place, the Hotel Kilmore Intermediate Championship final took place on Saturday evening in Kingspan, Breffni Park at 7 o'clock. Saw Ballyhaise taking on Cootehil, and Cootehil came out with a convincing victory here, 3 goals and 11 points to Cootehil. Ballyhaise 8 points. We're actually just going to go straight to interviews here, which thanks to Tommy Riley videos and to Paddy Shannon for doing these interviews after the game. But we have Enda Heston, Kieran O'Malley and John McCutcheon speaking with Paddy Shannon after the game.
On boys, with me here we have man of the match to the left here, Enda Heston. We also have Kieran, the manager all the way from County Meath, came down here in your first year, was it, Kieran? You've been over Cucullins as well, you've been involved with Cucullins, you've been involved with other Cavan clubs. Successful manager today, and of course the captain, the man of the moment also, got to lift a cup for the first time in over 40 years, John McCutcheon. John, I would say in the McCutcheon household, 1973 was possibly the last medal of significance to come into the house, a Hogan Cup medal. Today you, a lot of stuff was... a lot of ghosts were buried today. A great occasion for both yourself, your family, your club and your town.
Yeah, it was a great day for the whole club, the whole parish and the family especially. Dad was lucky enough to win a few trophies around 73 and 74, but he said it just dried up for Cootehil around then. They were senior, I think, from 74 up until maybe 92, and that was it. But the present group of players here didn't really think much about the past, more about the present and the future. And Kieran from the start of the year told us to stop thinking about past finals that we lost, and you can see there's a lot of young boys here with big futures in front of them, and just some of the older lads like myself, and just to latch on and build off their energy and hopefully help guide them through the year, and thank God it came through.
Yes, you had heartbreak here a couple of years ago. You lost the replay, probably in a drawn game. You came back from the dead. You kicked them off your left, you kicked them off your right. That was a tough day. But today, the same old names, though, in fairness. Okay, there mightn't have been many Hessons 40 years ago, but the same old names. You see the Carneys coming, you see the Conleys coming, you see the McCutcheons coming, you see the Sherlocks coming. But with all this new lads coming, the O'Connors, with Enda, with the Hayeses, of course, they go back a long way in the history of the club as well. But a mix of the old, a mix of the new. You saved the best wine till last. You struggled probably in the early rounds, but championships, you don't win them in Mays and Junes. You win them in the September, October.
No, we were just waiting for. We clicked earlier on in the league and we were beating teams by 12, 13 points, and whatever happened, it just didn't happen for us in the early round championship. Kind of the games were spread out over a few months, so we just couldn't really get the form built up. But we had a game last week, and then we had good 20 minutes, and that really stood us. We were never hit as hard as we are against Killincare, and that really kind of readied us for today. And a lot of that, I knew the young lads were serious ball players, but the way they stood up, like the man beside me stood up here against Killincare, like he tackled and tackled. We know we can kick scores, but he tackled like he was a cornerback, and he just showed another side to his game, and I'm delighted for him now. He's a great year. He's picking up trophies all the time.
Yes, and one final point, of course, is it's nice to see that Ogie Carney can't start shouting at them two young lads now about what medals, and they have a medal in their arse pocket that he doesn't have, and of course he'll try and make up some type or write something that they don't have it, or write them out of the history books. They're in them all. Cootehil, he's got great support. He's played on the big day. And do you think will the Undertaker buy much drink tonight, or is he looking to maybe put the hand across the counter and rob you?
There's a few publicans in town. We're lucky enough now. There's Kieran Mullen, Kenny Conley, and Glenn and Shamie Nulty, and Don Smiths are heavily involved in the club too. And there's a lot of publicans who give us a lot of support throughout the year. And some of us maybe give them too much support too. So Kieran tried to stop that, but sure, we'll go back to giving them support for the next few days. Thank you.
Now we'll come next. We'll take them as the lineup. Kieran, you had a backroom staff obviously, but you probably realised when you came in here you had potential. You had a good blend of youth and experience. I suppose there was other stuff that you saw, the intangibles, the stuff that only the manager and maybe his backroom and his selectors can see. Yeah, we had a great backroom team of Thomas McCabe and Paul Hayes, along with Sean Argue and our first aid and stuff like that. Yeah, I knew coming in, looking at them, and I haven't watched Cootehil a lot last year. They were probably unlucky, and they probably just needed to get the work was done by Kenny and Donald and Johnny in the last couple of years. So I came in and there was a good footing there. So we just kind of built on it. Okay, we changed a couple of things around, but that's going to happen in every management team. But we met. The first meeting I met these boys was the 10th of January, and the first thing I said to them, the age profile was correct to go and win a championship. It's just about getting that right. And fairness to the boys, they put the shoulder to the wheel and delivered big time. Yeah, you have a chairman who has, of course, a degree in theology. He has a lot of degrees. I'm sure he gave you lots of advice along the way, and he'll probably try and organise the party. I think the party's already organised. I think from after when the final whistle went, he had it organised. But and Larry gave me great support during the year. Like, in fairness to Larry and a few of them, they and Jim, they probably would have taken a chance on me coming in as a new manager. There was a lot of talk about Cootehil going out and getting a big name manager, and I met with them and they were decent enough to give me a chance. Probably Peter Riley helped that as well. He spoke up for me as well. But they're a great club, a serious club. You see the support there today. They won the senior hurling championship. The underage is flying again. They're playing in an Ulster club hurling championship tomorrow. It's a great club, and it's been driven on by the committee, and most of all, it's been driven on by the supporters as well. Yes, they have had some dark days in Cootehil. They've fought, and I know now that they're going really hard to try and get the O'Reilly Park done. By degrees to get it back up to what it was when it opened up first. A great and fine venue. Still is a fine venue, pitch that a lot of us, cut our teeth in and loved playing in it. But I think that tonight will give the whole town a huge boost, the whole area a huge boost. It'll give, a rising tide lifts all ships. So it should be good. I think it's going to be a positive thing for the area. I think you're going to equip yourself well in saying, tonight's not the night to be talking about 2015. Tonight's to talk about a party, and maybe, Tuesday, Wednesday night you get the lads together and you start talking about an Ulster Club Championship in the intermediate. you seem to be coming into the right form at the right time. And as I say, you have a few old experienced heads there to bring in at the end of the game. It was nice to see those lads coming in because they have soldiered many long and hard nights. McGahan maintains, I think, that he's 37. I think that he's 47. Doesn't matter what age he is or was, but great to see the likes of him too coming in there and getting a medal in the twilight days.
Yeah, they're great lads. Glenn and Brian and Barry and Kieran Fox especially, and Jared Aggie came on towards the end. They're the work that they've, or the service that they've given to Cootehil is unbelievable. And it was just they're part of the panel. They've drove things on at training when we, like during the summer we had 30 lads and we were flat out training, and it takes 30. We had 33 lads and 32 lads talked out today, plus Damien Sherlock, who was appendicitis. And I mean, it takes all them lads. We brought Brian Sherlock Senior down to the. You talked about to John about 71. Brian Sherlock Senior came down to do our training tours tonight and had a few words with the boys. And it's important to remember the past and embrace it. And Brian Sherlock Senior was a winner, and it really lifted the lads. And what he said really just drove things home, that we were coming here tonight, and we said this is our time, and thankfully it is our time.
Very good. And tell you, I'm sure you know this at this stage, like the general consensus is that, well, I know from my opinion that Jim Margie is the best footballer I ever heard.
Well, he tells a good story anyways about Jim, but he's a serious secretary. Like, he's probably I had his head wrecked during the week with making phone calls, and probably for the year, but whatever he can do for the team and whatever he can do for the boys, Jim does it 100%, as does the committee and as does anyone else helping out. And it's just great. It's great to come into a club that are willing to back everything and look after fellas and push things on, and that's what they've done.
And tell me, what was the secret weapon? That lad that's standing to your right at the moment, how did you keep an eye on him at the weekends and on the nights that you weren't around Cootehil?
Well, it's very hard done, if you could get a rope and tie him to the seat a couple of times. But look, I don't need to tell. I've seen Enda with the under-21s, and he's had a serious year. A lesser player, when he missed the penalty in the first half, probably would have died. But Enda stood up, he was the first man to stand up, and we got the second penalty and stuck it away in the corner. I mean, he's a tremendous footballer, and to me he should be getting a run with Cavan seniors, but that's just to me. There's a few lads in there, like John Carney as well was brilliant today. Queevy Carney, Jeremy Connolly came off the bench and was inspirational, and the ball he turned over at the sideline was a big turning point, and he won a ball for the penalty that he knocked down to Tom Hayes, who was taken down for it, and it was just us moving the ball really, really quick. These young fellas are great, and when you see the score, we've been threatening that all day and all year, and people have been telling us, Cootehil are struggling and Cootehil are this and Cootehil are that. We knew that performance was in us, and thankfully we got on the big day.
Has an Ulster junior title, a Leinster junior title, and an Ireland junior title, an Ulster under-21 title, a Cavan intermediate championship medal, a man of the match. I don't know if you were on the hurling panel or not. You don't go with the small ball. You go with a different goal also. But I know it probably makes up. And at this stage, for a young man, I see that the old receding thing is happening, but it doesn't seem to be giving you much skip. But you've had a tremendous year. Are you happy with how things have worked out? I'm sure you must be at this point tickle pink.
Oh yeah, it's class. I never believed it started the year, but I was in the under-21s and it was great. It gave me a big boost to myself. To see how hard training was and all, and playing with real good footballers all the time. And then when I went into the juniors, never really got playing and had to work my way into it. And then a lad got injured thankfully, and I got playing over in Scotland in semi-final, and I played well enough. And then I played the final and had a good game there too. So it was great. It was a great year for me, and I'm delighted to get the man of the match award today. And to win this for my club, it's the biggest thing I ever wanted to do. I wanted to do it 3 years ago, 2 years ago. I want to do it every year I played with Cootehil, and I'm thankfully that I went across the line with them today.
The older heads in Cavan would have always said, for Cavan to be successful on the national stage, we need our town teams to be going well. We possibly, they used to say we need to get our backs from the country clubs, and we need to get a lot of slick forwards from the town teams. I'm not sure that still holds, but certainly it's a huge help if you have, we have too many maybe perhaps town teams at the moment in Cavan that are not going well, but it's great to see Cootehil coming up, and it's great to see the quality and the mix of youth and experience. and the buzz that it brings, and that there's old people in Cootehil tonight, and you know what, you just can't buy. A doctor could come in and give them whatever tonic he or she wanted, and it can't buy what this has done for people around your area tonight.
Oh, it's great. Like the town will be buzzing now for about a week and forever now. This will be the talk, but hopefully we go on and do well in Ulster and that. And I'm just delighted. I'm lost for words, so I'm delighted, short and sweet.
I know that, and you know what, emigration probably hasn't hit you too badly. You haven't lost that many players, and that probably has been significant as well. You have hung in there, and the future is Celtic.
Yeah, the future's green and white. Well, like the likes of Brian Sherlock, Barry McGann, Keon Fox, Gerard Augie, all them boys, and like it's unbelievable the work to put into the club. Even out of training and everything, they're training the youth. They're doing everything they can for the club. It's unreal, and I'm delighted for them boys especially. And the young boys just drive on with them, and that's it. That's really it.
Well, fair play, and enjoy your night, enjoy your week. Get ready for Ulster. You can give it a good tilt. You have that youth and experience. You have that good blend, and make sure that Larry tucks you all in.
Thanks very much, lad. Cheers.
Yeah, so that was John McCutcheon, the Cootehil captain, Kieran O'Malley, the manager and man of the match, Enda Hesson, after their victory over Ballyhaise in the intermediate final. A convincing victory, Paul, and there's no doubt the better team on the day won it.
Yeah, I was talking to Phil in Plunkett today, and he said absolutely no complaints. He said the best team won. He said we were flat on the day, we didn't get going, but he said Cootehil got off to a great start. From the throw in, the ball landed with Hesson, and he curled over a great point, and he said that just got them settled in straight away. And he said the turning point really was 10 minutes into the second half. Ballyhaise had a couple of chances to draw level,
right.
Missed it. Cootehil went down and got a point, then they got a goal, and then they pulled away. So it's a shame for Ballyhaise, but they definitely will be back. They're a young team, and they just need to keep plugging away because it's tough to be thereabouts every year. But they definitely made progress this year. Like they won a Breffni League, they won that. They're going well in the All County League. They're in a junior semi-final as well. So they're doing well and doing well underage. But to the victors, the spoils, they Cootehil deserved it. Definitely, and you wouldn't begrudge it to them. 40 odd years of waiting for it and win it in great style. Hats off to them. Yeah,
like you mentioned Ballyhaise and the work that Phelim done this year, I think, is second to none, because he brought silverware for the first time to their adult team since 1968. Like a senior team in Ballyhaise hasn't won anything since then, so he broke that hoodoo, and came very close. I know on the final it didn't go their way at all, but came very close. It was it was key though, the game. Joshua Hayes done a good job on Kevin Tierney. Kevin Tierney scored 1 point from play, 3 from frees. Joshua Hayes tied him up, and that was instrumental in the game. The other end, Sean McCormick, just wasn't fit for Enda Hesson. Like it seemed a mismatch. Like a big, strong man like Sean McCormick, but he wouldn't be the quickest. Enda Hesson is very small but outrageous fast and a real good ball player. Like he can run as quick with the ball as without it. So it kind of that to me, that was the two matchups that one went, or the two of them went Cootehil's way when Ballyhaise needed one of them to go their way. Yeah, well, it's the same thing with the senior final on Sunday. Like when it's tight, a matchup or two will decide it. We said before the game how tight it was going to be, that game, but we weren't counting on Cootehil getting the better of the matchups. And also, I wasn't at the game now, I was at a wedding, but McCutcheon got the better of Conor Lyons were in the middle as well, from what I'm told. So, when you lose those three key battles there, and plus Barry McCrudden got a red card. That's right. So you're in trouble there straight away. So at that point, in fairness to Barry McCrudden, the game was pretty much over. It was, I'd say, more out of frustration that the day didn't go their way, that it happened, and it was possibly a harsh red card. Now, I seen the Cootehil player going down, but I had seen the Cootehil player coming up and squaring up to McCrudden first, or pushing into McCrudden. So it was a little bit harsh. But like you said, you can't take away from Cootehil's performance and Cootehil's victory. It was absolute dominance the whole way through. Like they really were value for it. And we talked about age profile when we mentioned Arva. Cootehil have an age profile that can push on now and compete at senior, and they'll have no fears. Oh, definitely not. But if you look at the two lads of 19, 20, 21, like Enda Hesson and Tom Hayes, like you've got years of serious performance from those boys, and they are two of the best forwards in Cavan at the minute. Yeah. And they're only going to improve.
And there's a lot more with that. Like talking about John Carney, excellent defender. Keevan Carney, the county minor forward. John McCutcheon, he's still only 28. I noticed that in the pen picks. Like he's seemingly his county career seems to be at an end, but he's had a reasonably long county career behind him, and he's still only 28. So like he's still an excellent player. Barry McGahan, I imagine, might hang up the boots now. He's been on the go a long time, but maybe not because he's still playing well. But
that's it. And talking to Cootehil men, they're saying that he's fitter than ever.
Oh,
you know, he's in great shape when it comes to doing the runs in Cootehil. He's at front of the line.
Well, I know that when he was on the county panel about 10 years ago, he was the fittest man on the panel. He was extremely fit. He's naturally a very fit fella, so he keeps himself well. So yeah, if he wants to play on, I'm sure he will. But there's a lot of good players in that team. Yeah,
like you look at the age profile, just to go through it. John Carney, 20. Joshua Hayes, only 24. Tom Hayes, 19. You go down, Dean Connolly, 23. Enda Hessen, 21.
Owen Roach is only about 19 or 20.
Owen Roach, 24. It says on this anyway.
Right, okay.
Ryan Riley, 18. Stevie O'Connor, 22. Sean O'Connor, 17. Dermy Connolly, 19. They come on. Like Keevan Carney, 18. Mark Mullen, 24. They come on. I'm looking, is there anybody else that was playing? But that's all incredibly young. You know, they have a profile. It'll be just interesting to see, and can Cootehil and maybe Arva, can they break the hoodoo or change fortunes of Cavan clubs in Ulster?
Well, they're well set up. They've won it in good style. I was trying to think earlier on of Cavan clubs who have done well in Ulster, what their profile was like going into it. There haven't been that many. Like Swan and Bar won, Drumgoon won, and Ballina won. That's about the height of it. So it's hard to pick out any trends from that you could say, oh, look, they're a team that have done this, this, and this, and sort of well set up for Ulster. So it's hard to know. And also the fact that they've both won it after a long wait. It's not like Arva won a junior, went up, came back down. You know, you'd imagine there's going to be a bit of celebrating there, and it's going to be. I just hope that Arva don't ease off, and I hope Cootehil don't ease off now, because they've got that little bit of momentum there now. And Cootehil, crucially for Cootehil, they're coming good at the right time. They've just played well, their best game of the season in the final. They're not like it's been a slow burner for them.
Yeah.
So there's every reason to think that they can keep up that level of performance. Whereas it's not like they picked for a quarter final and scraped over the line in the final. Their graph is rising, so there's no reason why they can't go on. Yeah, it'd be great to see it.
Definitely. And for those at home, Cootehil Celtic will take on Roger Casements from Port Lenone in Antrim, is it?
Yeah, that's
the
club of Niall McKeever, the big fellow who went to Australia.
Oh, right. Well, they won the Antrim Intermediate title, and that's on the 19th of October, Sunday the 19th of October, again in Kingspan Breffni Park. So that's 2 weeks, so they don't have a lot of time to celebrate.
No, but they don't they don't have a lot of time to celebrate. But something we should have touched on earlier on, speaking of time, was the fact that Kingscourt only have a week to prepare for a county final. I meant to bring that up earlier on, not to go back to that too much, but that's very unfair. It's very unfair on players and management, I think, when the opposition have had so long. I got to watch their game. Like Niall Lynch said to me earlier that, look, we watched Ballina and Mullahoran and we learned a lot from that, from their quarter final, because we knew who we were playing. I think that's very unfair. It's very unfair on administrators, sponsors, people who have to get stuff ready for programmes, ourselves in the paper. It's very annoying for that. But also, the county final is a big deal. Like Kingscourt have only been in 4 in the last 20 years. This will be the 4th. People like to fly home from England or Europe or even America for these things.
Yeah, there's no time.
There's no time now.
Yeah.
So it's an awful pity. So just when you're saying that Cootehil have only got 2 weeks for their Ulster game, but spare thought for Kingscourt. They've only got a week for a county final.
Yeah, and look at the intermediate was a slightly different scenario because both clubs are in the same position. Yeah. But it definitely is an advantage to Cavan.
I don't know what the rush is, because next Sunday is the 12th. Next Sunday is the 12th. The Cavan are out in Ulster until the 2nd of November.
That's exactly
so you have room for a replay there if needed. I just don't see what the rush is. I'm surprised Kingscourt haven't kicked up more over it, because under rule maybe they have to play because they're given a week, but I don't know what the rule is. But I just think it's unfair. Maybe they think it's too long to make the Gaels wait then, which could be another thing, which is true. Like if Kingscourt were to get the optimum time of 2 weeks and the Gaels had a month, that's not fair either. But the whole Castlemaine
would have been a month. It'd be 3 weeks, yeah, because they won their semi-final last weekend.
Yeah,
it was an early evening,
so.
But it's definitely a valid point, and it's something that should be looked at. Just very briefly before we go, There's relegation games on this weekend. Sorry, I want to just thank again Tommy Riley for the video footage there that we got earlier on, and anybody who wants to get in contact with Tommy, those DVDs of both finals, the Arva game and the Cootehil game, can be got through Tommy. So if you want to get in contact on email or on Facebook or on Twitter, we'll pass on your details. There's a relegation playoff, Killer taking on Swan Bar this weekend, and we're waiting on, obviously Drummondley will be taking on Red Hills, but there's a debate being opened up or being discussed about relegation playoffs and the way they're happening in Cavan. A lot of other counties have got rid of these ideas of playoffs. For example, that the lowest place, there's one suggestion that the lowest place team in the league format be relegated. So as in, we'll say the 5 teams from senior, Killashandra, Drummondley, Red Hills, Drumgoon and Den, that whoever finished up lowest on the All-County Football League position, that they would be relegated in the championship rather than go through these playoffs. What would be your thoughts on those?
That sounds like a good system. I hadn't given that any thought, but definitely relegation playoffs are not satisfactory. You want to get rid of these games that are just dragging on, that no one has any interest in. Any game that's a chore like that, if possible, should be cut out. Like, these games are a chore. No one wants to go to see them. Every club just wants to get it out of the way to hell and forget about it and get their season over, you know. So I don't see the point of it. Maybe it's a thing that there's a gate issue. Maybe the county board get a gate. If you get 300 to one of these games at a 10-hour head, it's $3,000.
That's true.
Maybe that's the thing. But
maybe it is. But
I hadn't given that much thought. But that's a good point you make.
It's very much like, and I know from being involved this year with Drummondley that, like, and every other club is the same. It's like just trying to drag the whole thing out that little bit longer, and it's very hard to motivate people and to keep enthusiasm going at this time of year. And managers that I'd be speaking to that have been involved in this situation for a number of years and spoke to about getting advice on it have said, listen, there's nothing you can do. You can't inspire motivation on a game like that. People just want to get it over and done with. It's not something that they're looking forward to. It's something that they want to just deal with and be done with. Like, so, you know, you're not going to get the same level of effort. So therefore the training that you're trying to drag players through this time of year is of no benefit to them in the long term. So it's a debate that maybe needs to be opened up in Cavan, along with the under 21 debate, which is that championship's only starting now in 3 or 4 weeks' time, but it's the wrong time of year to be playing football again.
Correct. Well, my thoughts on the under 21 is that they should try it on a Sigerson style format and play it over a weekend or 2 weekends max, but preferably get it down to a final weekend, starting on Friday afternoon, and play, because all these young lads are in college, a majority of them, and play it in all the venues around Cavan Town. So you have Breffney Park and the 3G pitch. You've got Drummondley, Killigary, the fantastic new pitch at Killigary, Terry Coyle Park.
You'll have Butler's Bridge next year.
You'll have the Bridge next year. And play it all off in around Cavan Town. Have a weekend pass for tickets. You could say €20, €30, whatever, for a weekend pass, get you in the whole weekend. And make it a festival, the under 21 festival of football. It'll be absolutely brilliant. And you have all these really class footballers that would be playing in it. Because it's not a thing, you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, but you can make a good championship out of a championship with littered with Ulster under 21 medalists and class players, county senior players. You know, you could make that, you could hype that up. It's already a great championship, but you could turn that into the centrepiece of the year and be a great finish to the year. And plus, you could run that off early and say, right, that's one weekend. You've cleared up all these weekends. Instead of running it up to the 20th of December and giving fellas Christmas and then they're right back into it. Get that run off by the end of November at the latest, if even needs to be. Maybe get a run off by mid-November and give the lads a proper close season.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And you'd be finished on a high.
And a weekend like that, of course, Cavan TV could stream all the matches live, and it could be a wonderful, wonderful spectacle. So, just again, before we wrap up the show, just want to remind people that this coming Thursday we'll have an Up for the Match Gaelic Football View show live from the Hotel Kilmore on the Dublin Road. It's at 8 p.m. and it's featuring the two clubs, Kingscourt Stars and Cavan Gaels, of course. So it's a free event and it'll be recorded in front of a live audience. So if people want to come in, it's 8 o'clock. We'll start recording in the Hotel Kilmore. So hope to see you all there. So that brings us to the end of this week's show. Our thanks to the backroom team tonight, who is Dave, of course, manning the whole show on his own. And our thanks to Tommy Riley and Paddy Shane in there for the interviews with the Cootehil lads. We'll bring you the interviews with the Arva lads and hopefully some reaction from the senior final on next Monday night's show. Also thanks to Paul Cox, who's always a helpful distraction around the place. he's always a bit of help. And of course our thanks to Paul Fitzpatrick, the sports editor with the Anglo Celt, for his intelligent contribution. For a change. So remember, if you want to get in contact with the show, we'd be delighted to hear from you. You can email us on GaelicFootballViews@gmail.com. You can follow us at Twitter at Gaelic Football Views, or you can find us by searching Gaelic Football Views on Facebook. Again, I didn't mention earlier on, but hopefully Mickey will be back with us next week. Well, he'll definitely be here on Thursday night, but he had a bereavement in the family, so we wish all the family belonging to the Brennans the very best of our condolences. Sorry, the best of our condolences. So look, until next week, it's good night and God bless.
Morning, Mickey.
What did you make of that game yesterday?
Oh, where do I start? Only for Ronan Flanagan. I can't believe Martin Riley missed that goal chance, you know. Him with a soccer background, I'd have expected him to keep it low on the carpet, but they blazed it over the bar. Very lucky to be able to bring on Michael Argue. Big man for the middle of the field, and him still under 21. You imagine, we got to an All-Ireland quarter-final last year, and that was without him, and without Grode McKiernan and these lads. Imagine what we can do this year with them all. The night that we got the first-round victory, it was absolutely amazing. When you think about it, we haven't won a first-round game in years. 6 points from play. You can't ask for much of a better return than that. But then the missed 6. Gilson in goals was playing brilliantly. Joshua Hayes, you couldn't replace him. Rory Dunn, outstanding. Killian the Gunner, absolutely brilliant. Fergus Flanagan was probably lucky to not get a black card. He got a yellow one instead. Jeez, I tell you what, Pete McGrath was raging after it, so he was. You know, after last year reaching the All-Ireland quarter-final, sure, everyone's Samsung Galaxy tablet from 149. That's pretty damn good. But like, how's Terry Highland going to be able to keep their heads on the ground and not let them get blown up?
Hayes Expert, Cavan and Cootehil, proud sponsors of Gaelic Football Views.
Look, at the end of the day, we got the 2 points, and isn't that all that really matters?
Yeah, but sure, look, I'll see you at the match later on.
Nah, I don't think I'll bother.